Hello there, folks. It's Enigmad here as your host from your favorite internet corporation, Deal With It Incorporated. Now, I know a lot of you out there are really confused by the title of this video, but I'll clear it up real quickly. Now, for you guys that hate recolors, where do you get off that shiny silver high horse that you've placed yourself upon? Anyway, Taylor said she'd like to have a few words with those people who do not like recolors before I dig in too deeply. So Taylor, take it away.
Sorry, but you're gonna have to deal with it. Deal with it. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Thank you, Taylor. Isn't she precious? However, I've seen she has her own group of angry recolors haters to be dealing with. And I will now be following suit by her great example. Now, for those of you hating recolors over the internet, going on video after video, commentary after commentary, for no apparent reason at all, just to go on to form this ever-chained circle of hatred upon recolor artists. But dear God, if I didn't want to give you a fair chance at explaining your side, I wouldn't be going to the videotape.
At least do your own artwork, or else it's theft.
Let me take you back down something I like to call memory lane. Now, back in the early 90s and perhaps late 80s even, coloring books were quite the fad those days for the little children of America, and probably other countries as well. And no one had a problem with coloring inside the lines, outside the lines, or actually picking different colors to meet your fancy. However, now that people are doing it quote-unquote by stealing them over the internet, it is a terrible problem. I mean, after all, people pirating video games, movies, and other types of digital media, or programs if you will, cheating thousands upon thousands of dollars out of the economy, that pales in comparison to the importance of these recolors. But thank you, Mr. Toxic Nightmare X, for that valuable input. And now, let's hear from a former recolorer, one who's very infamous, a man who needs no introduction, Bloodshot the Hedgehog.
People have actually made channels dedicated to hating recolors.
Now have no fear, Bloodshot. Enigmad is here. Now, for those people who are all anti-recolor, saying that they are not important in the slightest, by making YouTube channels, commentaries, and videos aplenty, wouldn't that be quite the definition of hypocrisy? For if they weren't important by any way, shape, or form, I don't think we need about 20,000 video makers talking about the same thing. However, it's funny to see a response to a response to a response on the same subject matter, saying the same exact thing about how recolors are just so darn terrible, yet the subject that you're ranting on is on their originality, but by not being original yourselves, and by saying the same thing over and over. Dear God, your blatant hypocrisy just oozes from your beloved community. Now, to be completely fair, you guys get mad at people for taking Sonic art, putting their own little pizzazz or original creative spin upon their creation, but when you guys have intros getting ready to bash these so-called unoriginal people, but you use music you didn't make, video clips you didn't perform in, and you combine that by putting text that has your name on it, well, that's downright despicable in hypocrisy as well, because it's doing the same thing. And this is just another example of how you guys need to learn your role and shut your mouths. And the funny thing is, 95% of you recolor bashers out there aren't even doing it because you don't like recolors. You're mainly bashing them because some greater force, i.e. popular YouTubers who will not be named, had made videos on them, and you figured you could get on their good side by doing the same. And that's a little thing we like to call over here at Deal With It Incorporated, sucking up. But I digress. A lot of you people who hate recolors actually judge people off their recolors, which is nothing short of shallow. For example, just because someone recolors doesn't mean that they're a terrible person. I mean, after all, most recolorers stem from the ages of 12 to 15, and they're not even out of the minor leagues of age yet. Yet you guys who are 20 and 30 just love to bash him over the head with profanity that is highly unnecessary. Thank you for ruining our children, one anti-recolor video at a time. I mean, after all, it's kinda like going out on a limb here and saying, just because you recolor, you're stupid. It's almost the same as saying, hey, if you're a redneck, your mom is your sister. Or if you're black, you stole my bike. It's not true by any means, but it's basically doing the same thing. I mean, come on, guys. When are you gonna grow up? And I know a lot of you commentators are actually thinking about doing a commentary on this video right here, which would be a bad idea because most of you who are going to make this quote-unquote commentary are going to make a very fatal mistake. You'll be hearing my words, but not exactly listening and interpreting what they mean. Don't get me wrong, you'll be focused on something, but it darn sure wasn't what I said. Now, to all you anti-recolorists out there, just remember, the next time you're gonna shoot your mouth off, remember you're just jealous that you haven't had the time, or the originality, or the skill, or the moxie to come out with your own original series, come out with your random recolor of other previous works, or do anything in order to salvage the diminishing quality of your YouTube channel, for you haven't posted anything original of your own and haven't gotten popular for it. But then again, let's face it, haters always gonna hate. This is Enigmad, your host, here at Deal With It Incorporated. I hope you stay tuned for our next installment. And remember, kids, it's okay to deal with it.